It's 2025 and we're back. Happy New Year. Happy 2025.
Happy 2025.
Oh
That's
my
wild.
gosh, it's 2025.
That's wild.
Can we actually take it? You know, yeah, I did this the other day. We're getting old.
Oh.
And I forget this.
How are you going to start the new
Fam,
year?
no,
saying
as
that?
in because it's another year, 2025. Like, you and I were going to be, 33?
Please.
Jesus year. Come on,
33?
somebody.
So now I'll be
Jesus
saying
year.
Jesus year, my Jesus,
Jesus
year.
year.
Hey.
What is that?
That's what they call it.
Oh,
Did you know that?
I know Jesus was 33 years, but
That's your
I didn't know
Jesus
that
year.
that's what they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Jesus year, my sister.
It's a good year.
It's a
It
good
is,
year.
but it's
33 is a
like,
good year.
I've heard people
Yeah.
say that
From time.
Listen, and
That was your time.
I remember when I was 16, I was 25.
Yeah.
Like, those years have gone very quickly.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
have. Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
well, let
Well,
us enter
happy
this
new
year.
year. We've entered the new year, new blessings.
Yeah.
This
new
year.
blessings.
Testimony.
Follow, we go.
That's right.
And on that
2025.
note, you are joined by myself, Abisoye.
Roselyn,
And Ken.
how you guys doing?
Yeah, good.
Mm.
Yeah, feeling prepared
Yeah.
for the new year.
Sorry, the voice plus the cardigan.
Yes.
I'm telling you, if only you will borrow me this your cardigan, I will
And the
wear
bob.
it with my heart out for work. Because
Prepared.
I can plan so many.
Yes, I
bits of
know.
it.
I bought it for work, but it's so warm
It
that I
feels
just
very
I'm
warm.
just gonna wear it today.
feels very
Uniqlo is Uniqloing.
Oh, yeah, it's
like,
actually really
yeah.
thick. It's really thick.
Yeah.
And that's what it's given like I can underdress it, casual dress it.
Yeah.
This
I
is
can
where-
dress it up.
Yes, honey.
Hashtag wear your clothes.
Yeah.
Hashtag wear
Your
your clothes. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm feeling prepared. I really want us to dive in or talk about. Oh gosh, I forgot the topic. Can't I?
So
let me
so
just-
basically, I feel like we want to start off this topic for this year because the beginning of every year we're excited for the year. We have our goals, our plans. It's always like new year, new resolution. This plan, this plan, this
Yeah,
plan.
yeah.
And I'm definitely guilty of that. But sometimes, to what extent do we do all those things? To what extent do you feel like, okay, this is the year that I'm going to be walking in my purpose, doing all these things. At the cost of your mental well-being, or for you to get burnt out. And yeah, it's like really and truly, how do you strike that balance between walking in our purpose, where you're doing so many different things, and also making sure that you don't burn out?
I think that's really interesting because when you think about purpose, it's like should we be burning out from our purpose? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
But-
even thought I was like,
But actually, though, it depends on what people understand as purpose, right? So I feel like this is a conversation we've been having for years upon years upon years. So I want to know, what's your understanding of purpose?
my sister.
This is giving 10 marks. Okay.
Let's cut it to 5, Mark. So
Okay.
because I feel like when you understand what purpose means, like especially because we're Christian women, right? So we're not looking at it through the lenses of the world. It is, what does the Bible say our purpose is? Then that might help answer the other parts. How do we live then with purpose without having to become burnt out, or striking the balance between, like Abs is saying, when you're living your purpose, should you be burnt out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the question we posed was, is the expectation to live with purpose creating burnouts rather than fulfillment?
Yeah. So
It's deep.
yeah. So I've just been thinking, because the question came up and I was just thinking, well, what really is my purpose?
Okay. Purpose, I would call it, for me personally, what I believe God has called me to do on this earth for His glory, and that cuts across different aspects of my life. So being a mother, in my being as a person that God has created me, and how I'm using those skills and things that he's given me, those gifts to glorify him. And in how I also serve him and bring more people to him. I think that's how I would express my purpose in like that umbrella.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep kicking you.
No.
I'd agree. I don't know if I would add anything else to that. It's ultimately to serve God, and with whatever he gives you, serve him diligently with that. I think the issue or the problem that we get ourselves into is that there's so many things that God has given to us, as in even our talents, even the things that we're able to do. And so we probably, for me, I find myself trying to do all of them at the same time and try and do all of them excellently. And that is where it's like it can get a bit navigating that, because it can be quite overwhelming. So it's like, if you're a singer, if God has given you the talent to sing, does that mean you have to try and aspire to be a world-class gospel singer, or is it okay to just sing in your church? Because you have that, because he's giving you those talents, like, what are you supposed to do with them? I think that's where purpose gets a bit tricky for people. That's
fair enough. Fair enough. So this is something that I've always sort of wanted to discover and understand better, like purpose. I'm sure everyone's read that book. Purpose Driven.
Do you know, I only read it this year.
Oh, really?
I read it years ago. I feel like I need to reread it to even remember the stuff I learned from it. It's been years.
I'm sure we all had read the book.
And Isaac recommended it.
Back in the day, they were doing
it.
Kafwi, all of them, they were doing it. And I kept reading the first few pages, and I was like, snooze. I was like, purpose? I want to be in a party. But
it's a journey that we've all kind of been on. And a very long time ago, I was like, okay, well, to me, what does purpose mean? And it was 3 things: love God, love people, share the gospel. That's essentially what my main purpose is on this life, on this earth, is to do those 3 things. Then I have a calling. So I always saw my calling as where I'm supposed to be to achieve that purpose. That's how I was able to sort of differentiate it, because I thought, that's where you're saying the talent, things getting confused, because now it is a talent, but what are you called to do? So some people have a talent of singing, right? And they serve in the church, that's it. They're not superstars, but then they have been called to go into the medical world. Like they feel that that's the thing that God has dropped on their heart to achieve the 3 purposes of love God, love people, share the gospel. And it's through that realm, or the world of medicine, that's how they're going to serve their purpose or live out their purpose.
I like that.
So that's what I was trying to understand, because when you have an understanding of what your purpose is, and then there's the calling as well, then it might help you decide, it might help you balance self-care, not being burnt out, fulfillment, and all that good stuff.
So how do you know your calling then? And that's because do you know your calling?
So I've been called into education. That's how I've understood it. I've been called to, my talents back that up. The things that I can do links very well to education. Don't put me in finance. I can't do jack. I can't do diddly squat there, boy. Do you know what I mean? My talents do not thingy. So I will not be entering into that world. But I have been called, I've been given certain talents and knowledge and stuff that links up well with the education system. It's also a passion that's been dropped onto my heart for a very long time. Like, for instance, law. That's something that's always been in your heart. From day dot, it's just been in your heart. Journalism, it's actually something that's been in your heart. You've probably overlooked it and gone down routes that people have told you to go down, or you thought maybe more money, more da-da. But truly, you came back to your main calling, and you can see this is where you are thriving the most in that place. And so that's how I've always understood it to be. It's where you are, it's like some people are called into ministry. Not everyone can walk into it. Like we all are disciples of God, but me leading the ministry, being an apostle, being a pastor, I'm probably not called into that, but I am a steward of my family and to minister in a different way to a pastor or an apostle. So that's how I've kind of understood it. How people would recognize that, I don't know, because God speaks differently to everybody. Some people will receive a prophecy from others. Some people hear a word from God, or from people. So it varies.
So that's really interesting. I think I definitely agree in terms of the purpose is like the big umbrella, and I really like how you categorized it, and I feel that applies to everybody, because I've always seen purpose as our purpose as Christians are really the same.
Yeah.
Right? Is in what we're called to do. So I think when I explained, I said what I'm called to do. What we're called to do, that it looks different. I in my belief, I feel like calling is very much directly linked to your skill set and the gifts and talents that God has given you. That could be in the capacity of the job that God has given you, but also people don't only experience that calling in that capacity. So personally, I feel like there's so many things that God has taken me through in my life and my journey that I feel called to, when the opportunity does arise. Does opportunity does arrive or arise?
Arise.
I think arise, but also
when the opportunity comes,
Yeah.
when the opportunity comes,
Tomato, tomatoes. That makes sense.
yeah. When the opportunity comes, that I am able to either help people in that in the capacity that I can in terms of the journey that I've been on. So for example, in my line of work, it was real basketball sports bass getting to where I was. It was not easy, but I learned so much that it really gave me a lot of hacks that I'm able to help people get jobs so much more quicker than I could, prepare for interviews, negotiate their salaries, all that stuff. Or outside of that, even in my faith, there's certain things that on this platform, I definitely feel called to do preaches, because I feel like God has taken me in a certain journey in my faith where I might not necessarily resonate with the minister on the pulpit, but I could resonate with someone that they've struggled with a particular thing in their life, and through surrendering to God, God has helped them prune that part of them and build their confidence in that way. So in my view, I feel like your purpose, it trickles down into your calling, and it shows up in different ways, be it how you use your skill set, be it how you use your experiences, all that stuff, but it all boils back to God and glorifying God, or bearing witness of what you've done in your life. And I think the struggle is when you're in a position where you actually could do so many things based on the things that God has placed on your heart or revealed to you, or the gifts He's given you. So me, if I had to list it, so in my purpose, family-wise, mother, wife, and then in my career, I have my actual job, and then I also run like a professional network for people in my industry. In ministry, I'm not going to be on the pulpit, but there's preachers at church. I serve singles ministry. I want to empower people in terms of trying to find their person. That's a lot of stuff. Yeah. And then in terms of even my career, I forgot the studying chat. So it's a lot. In terms of you're being pulled in different aspects. You love them all, but it can get very overwhelming.
I think a lot of people can relate to what you've said, and a lot of people have those different plates. I think it's just the generation that we're in as well. We just there's a level of freedom. We have to just try out different things and put ourselves in positions, and which is amazing. I think for me, it boils down to what I was saying in the end of year, wrap up conversation, like there's a lot we can do, but in order for us, well, for me to understand my purpose, I need to slow down, and just have that, like, yeah, I just need to know what God wants me to ultimately do. And if it's the case that God is like, yeah, all of these things, because everything you're saying, you're giving to people, you're giving onto people, all the things that you mentioned, then it's the same God that will be able to provide a plan for you to do so. I don't know if burnout, like, because whenever I'm still, the burnout feeling disappears. So it's like, if I'm still and I'm like, okay, just doing what God has called me to do, I'm still struggling with that. Like whether God calls, like his calling will call us to burn out. I don't necessarily think so. So with all that you're doing, and like, are you burning out?
Yes, please.
That's why I struggle with that. It's the truth, but I struggle with it because I'm trying to think, like, if you're doing all these good things, and that's another question of we can all do good things, whether we should be doing all those things is another thing. But like, why would God put so much pressure on us to burn out, and so that we then look at those things in a negative way? That's what I'm processing in my head right now, and I don't know the answer.
For me, two things that I'm trying to intentionally work on. So one is there's purpose. Even let's park, but I'm not parking it, but I'm going to focus on the word calling. So there's your calling of the different things that you're called to do, that God wants you to do. Be it, there'll be a prophecy about it, he'll reveal it to you, he will open doors for you, all that good stuff. But part of that also comes with God's time. And just because God has revealed something to you, don't mean that it needs to happen in that season. So I think in the wrap-up episode I was talking about David, because it's something I've been studying lately. David was anointed to be king 20 years before he actually became king. So imagine when he was chosen and he was anointed, and then he would have thought, oh, okay, maybe this year, maybe next year, maybe the following year. And now it's 20 years, you know? And I think something that I'm trying to learn more about is that purpose requires you to be on God's time, and being in God's time also means being obedient to God's will. Because just because God has shown you don't mean that that's the time that it needs to happen in. And so on my part, I need to make sure about what you said about seeking God and really understanding that, is this what you want me to do? I need to make sure that I am seeking the time of God to be in this world, because should I try to now go ahead of God, which I feel like I can't, I wouldn't say I've gone ahead of God, but the counter to that is that there's also you not doing your part and you procrastinate, and then you become out of God's timing, which is also another form of disobedience. So God has been showing me that I've been disobedient in because when God calls you to do something, he's gonna give you the grace, the capacity, the resources, the people to connect with. There's certain things sometimes that just align, and then it fits and it works. But when we don't do our part and then you miss that timing, it can happen for you, but now you need to do so much more. And that's when it's also harder. And I feel like I can relate to the latter. There are times where before I got married, there's so many things like my studies, I could have done that time. But I was not disciplined enough to do it. You know, and I think so I've come to the acceptance that it was not I missed my time, but the season that I was given the most grace and capacity to do it, I was disobedient, and I didn't steward my time properly. And so this time around, I'm having to do it, and it's harder. God is going to give me the grace to do it, but again, I need to be so in sync with what is his will. His will be in his time for me. So I think that's one part of when you feel burnt out. When you feel, sometimes you can feel burnt out because what you're trying to do is a good plan. It might even be a God plan, but is it in God's timing and is it in God's will in that season that you're in? And when we try to go ahead of God or when we delay it, that's whenever we try to do it, where you're now doing more with your own, within your own strength, so to speak. So it's harder.
Yeah, I want to say two things. First of all, your hair's bomb.
Oh, thank you,
no,
please.
it was distracting me.
Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year.
Yeah, that's just a side part. Anyway, yeah, everything you were saying, it brought me to something that I've been meditating on recently, and that is being prepared. There is a level of preparedness we need to have before God gives us what it is that he's told us he's going to give us. So when that thing now comes and we haven't prepared for it, we will miss it. And what preparedness means is like how let's say for example, you're talking about your you've got exams coming up, or you want to do a qualification, or you want to go on holiday, or whatever it is, what you're doing to get to that point. Like, are you saving up to get to that point, or is it now by the time you get to the holiday, you're now having to use the money you have in your current account, and now it's a tight holiday? Like, how are you preparing for that thing? Because God is not a man that will lie, so it's gonna come. But if you haven't prepared for it, you're not gonna be ready for it. So even when you're saying that about you not having the discipline, it's like, I don't want you to be too hard on yourself, but because it's also about how you. In that time, were you prepared for it?
No, please.
You know, and so
I feel like I didn't do my part.
Yeah. So you didn't do your part, but I think we always look at it as discipline, because I look at it like, oh, I'm so lazy, I should have done this, but it's laziness. But it's like I haven't prepared for it, so now when it comes, I'm not ready for it, and then I'm like, oh, I should have done it. Yeah, so I think that word is what that's been put on me recently, and it's like, all these things that I'm praying for, all these things that God has put in my heart that this is what you're gonna do, instead of chasing it like, okay, you told me I'm going to have X, I'm gonna go for X now. It's like, what do I need to do to be ready for when X comes?
Exactly.
That is what I think we need to focus on as well to do with purpose. Because if we're just like, okay, I'm a great singer, so that's it, I should have won this award, or it's like, are you doing the lessons or I don't know what singers do to prepare that? And also if it's God that is telling you that this is gonna happen, or you're gonna be singing to all these nations, like, are you spending time with God to understand what message it is He even wants you to deliver with your voice? Like, I think there's just a level of things that we need to, preparedness is the message that I get from what you said.
And I definitely agree on that. I feel like that's a key word. And the second point that I was going to say about the two things was, not every good idea is a good idea. And I think
say that again.
That not every good idea is a good idea, and I think in our generation, that's what can catch us a lot. You think, like, say my good says Kenyeh can do some bomb ass graphic designs. Okay, like, she can do some very, very powerful design. Okay, I was even thinking, Kenyeh can do a business with this, But
have I not said the same thing to you?
But not on my watch though.
She just said,
I serve here. This is where I serve.
But just because God has blessed her with those talent or that skill set, it don't mean that Kenyeh needs to now go and become a business graphic designer for commercial purposes. And I think we're in a generation where when God shows us our strengths, our skill sets, the things we're good at, we now want to create it into something or commercialize it. Or these days, like visibility can somewhat be linked. There's a positive correlation with visibility and making money. So these days people want to be visible so they can make money, on platforms, etc. And it's like, I hear it, but it's so important to really assess, like, our intentions for doing those things. I recently saw a video of Queen Hadassah, and she was talking about how she came across like her journal of like goals and things like that, and within it she was like, this was like a few years ago, it was saying, I want like 1 million followers on YouTube, I want this, I want that, and she was looking at it and just laughing, like, it's like, what is all of this for? Like, I want all of this visibility for what? Because ultimately what we should be doing is, whatever we do, it should really bring glory to God, right? And it should be about bearing witness, bringing more people to him. Sometimes some people have to be in visible platforms and have to be visible in certain spaces, so that the people that others might not necessarily have access to can see those people, so that they can be brought to Christ, you know? And it doesn't necessarily, that person doesn't have to perform in the capacity of a preacher or whatever, but sometimes just hearing someone's story of how far God has brought them, or what God is using with them in a circular space, can minister to so many people. Don't mean that all of us now need to now come and do that too, you know? Or even, what's it called? The fact that these days it's like everything, we want to commercialize it. We want to make money from it. It's not we might be good at something. We might have a good idea to do something, but it's so important to put that through the lens and like really seek God about it. About, God, is this something that I'm supposed to be doing? How am I supposed to do it? Maybe that singer, her destiny or her calling is to only be in the church, only sing, minister to people in the church. It could be there might be a singer that their destiny is to go and do be doing Brit Awards and all that stuff, but they need to be trained by her to do you know what I mean? Everyone's story is different. We all play a part that adds to everyone's part. The fact that even for us, Joel thought of preachesses. She spoke to me. Somehow I spoke to you, and then I spoke to you. We spoke to other people before. It didn't work out. Now that you're doing preachesses, somehow you now realize that you have such a great talent with production, with podcasting, all the stuff. You're walking your purpose. That's how we all play a part in terms of what it all becomes, the bigger picture becomes, but it doesn't look the same. And I think it's so important for all of us to really figure out, God, what do you want me to do? You know, the previous episode that we were talking about, you were like, you have to literally sit still and seek God and ask him, like, what is it that you want me to do? Because sometimes it's like, and I feel like that's something that I'm really trying to find that place again, where it's like, I know I'm doing something, and I definitely know that God is the one that told me to do this, and he's told me exactly how to do it, you know? Sorry, I got very
powerful stuff,
hot and heavy.
No, everything you're saying is
really
solid.
Powerful. It's very, very good. Still, I'm lost for words even. Because
I just think it's we're in a season of like, or it's an era where there's so many things that crop up, and then we all think, oh yeah, we could do that, and it's our calling, and we then get burnt out. But God has called us. Like I think I was listening to Joyce Meyer's preaching the other day, and she was like, God wants us to be well balanced. Like when you're well balanced, that's when you're ready. You're also very attentive to when the enemy is up to his mess, you know. But a lot of the times we find it that we have to do all these different things, but our purpose, as you said, it starts with God. When you're calling, you're doing so many different things, and then God is now getting the residue of you. You're not fulfilling your purpose. You're not fulfilling your purpose. Your purpose is supposed to start with God. He's a priority that we're given the priority to, our best self to. And from there, as you said, is when he will say, okay, do this, do that. Oh, maybe this one, don't do it. Oh, this one you can do it, but I'm using it to build you so that you can go to the different, stage. But then when it's like we try to do all those things, we manufacture the plan, then we go to God, and we're not even at our best. And it's hard. And I'm saying this because like this is something that God is just enough is enough. I'm learning, Father. You know? So
what you said reminded me of Abraham and Sarah. Because he told Abraham that he will be the father of many nations, but in the weight, they were like, okay, we're going to take things into our own hands. And it's just the time and time again, that's literally what happens. And I think because God's dreams are so big, they're more than we can comprehend for 100%. Us. The things he has for us, we're just like, how can this be possible? That it's I don't know why we're like, okay, well, we have to figure out how it will be possible. If not, but instead of actually just relying on God, I actually don't know how this is possible. So it's only you that can do it. But we just always seem to try and
it's figure it out. Humans being logical though, isn't it? Like we operate with logic. Like it takes a huge amount of faith, crazy faith, reckless faith, to be like, oh, you're taking me here. Oh, you said I'm gonna be on the main stage, but I don't even sing. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you go? That takes crazy faith that our brain just cannot fathom. Like, or even the fact that God will do something like that for me out of all the how many people in the world. That's huge.
I find it difficult when so I'm wondering if I will share this or not, but I'm sharing it. But let's see if it's keep it on. But from a young age, I do believe God has called me to do something visual. And I'm not even saying it, like, but to be seen. And I think because I look and compared myself to other people for so long, it's like I can't believe God really wants me to be seen. And then when I try and be seen, it doesn't work out, or it doesn't work out to what I think it is. So when you speak about the Queen Hadassah, her testimony, or her, saying like, I want this amount of followers or this amount of, it's like, like, okay, God, if I'm actually now doing what you called me to do, why am I not getting thousands of followers or 100,000? Like, and so it can be really tricky when you actually think you are doing what God is telling you to do, and you're not seeing the results of it. This is just being very transparent. Like, so last year, we're in 2025. Last year, I actually plucked up the courage to actually be like, okay, I'm going to walk in it. And I don't know if it's just being realistic, like the topics and stuff that I talk about, like there's only a specific type of demographic, I guess, that are interested in it. But it's like, oh, like, why is it not doing the numbers if I'm being obedient? And that can make you want to have a breakdown because you're just like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and da-da-da. Like before, I was hiding behind people and just doing their productions, and but it's like, okay, now I'm actually gonna put myself in the forefront. And it's Preacher Sis that's also encouraged that. Like the early stages of Preacher Sis, I wouldn't really say so much, or I'll be the one that'll be ask the questions, or why would you do this, so I don't have to actually say my own opinion. But now it's like, okay, I'm actually opening up and being vulnerable. And then, on my own platform doing the same. So it's like, oh, why is it not doing the numbers? It's so hard not to chase that gratification or the metrics, because for that to say that you're actually doing God's will. Like, okay, if the metrics are saying, if I'm getting 10,000 views or likes on this, that means I'm doing the right thing. And if I'm not, am I? That's where I social media and everything can really make you confused, and then I'm like, okay, should I just go back to finance? Should I do this? And then I'm just putting, and then it's really tricky. Purpose. As in when we put it in our own understanding. So that's just where I am. I just thought to share that. It's very try not to chase numbers for that to gratify if I'm doing the right thing.
100%. That's why I don't like social media. Honestly, I don't like social media. I just think it gives people false hope and false ideas about things. Because like you said, you think, oh, someone's got 1 million views, that means that if you were to go and watch, if you were to look at the stats on their videos and stuff, like, yes, there are 1 million views, but everyone drops off within the first 20 seconds. Is that, if, like, for example,
shady
like,
boots style.
do you know what I mean? But with that, then, if we had those stats to show, would we all say, oh, that person's still very successful? They had 1 million views on the video, but people only watched 20 seconds of a 1 hour video. Like, is that still success? Do you know what I mean? And that's the problem with social media. It doesn't really show you actually and truly, really and truly what goes on behind closed doors. It's just face value. What you see is what you think is the reality. And like, sometimes God, he calls you to put things out just to be obedient. Just to be obedient. That's where it starts. And then when you actually are like just doing it because he's called you to do it, then you might see other things are now connecting and things are growing and expanding. But when you become hyper fixed on it, you are now taking away from focusing on him to focusing, you're idolizing the numbers again. So then he'll just pause. Let's just pause. I'll pause there. We'll pause the people coming to see. We'll pause it there. Yeah, until you fix your eyes back onto me again, because I will be the one that will send these people to you. You ain't got to worry about that. You just put it out there. I'll make sure it goes to who it needs to go to, when it needs to go to them, and your numbers will naturally increase. Your community will expand, and so on and so forth. So I think, just generally, I find that we're a generation of people who are too fixated on feedback from others, like a lot, and so that's why we become burnt out. It's always, I need to be doing more, getting more money, getting more feedback, doing more. Like, no one wants to just chill. Genuinely, no one wants to chill. We don't chill. We don't know how to chill. Our parents will tell us, you guys are always out. It's true. We don't know how to just be sat, like stay in your home. Our parents, they was in their homes. They said, I pay my bills, I pay rent for this, I'm staying here. Do you get it? Like, but us, we're always out. We're going to this. Mum's like, every weekend you're going to someone's party, someone's little.
Oh, auntie.
I know. She said, just relax a little bit. I said, yeah. But it's like that. We're just always go. Always chasing the next big thing. Because it gives us a good feeling. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it could be, whether it's a new business plan, But But you're doing fantastic. So don't be pressurized by numbers. Like I said, I don't like social media. I only like TikTok, but then even then I can create my timeline. So I like laughing at animals. I like laughing. I can't lie. I like laughing at animals. I also like dancing. So those are the things that I will see. I don't see anything else. I don't know. When you're coming up with all these trends, I'm like, what's that? What's that song? Who's Sexy Red? Who's that? Do you know what I mean? Because I just think it's a mad world. And it kind of fogs your lenses of how the world truly operates and truly what's going on in the lives of others. But you are doing a fantastic job. God has called you to do something that is for a specific group of people. But those who are interested in it, they are the ones that are watching and listening. So it was created for that. It wasn't created for the mass. Do you know what I mean? And just always keep your eyes focused on that. And the numbers will grow in due time. But numbers don't always reflect success.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There are many who have millions and millions of pounds, and on the inside they're empty, they're sad, they're low. They don't have anything to live for. They feel they don't have anything to live for, but they're living what we want. You got that nice house in the suburban area. You got a driver, cook, this or that, but they're empty. Do you know what I mean? So just what you're doing should bring you fulfillment. Yeah, because you were obedient to God. Yeah. And you're doing it in a way that actually you don't feel burnt out because it's literally in line with God. So it's not killing you left, right and centre or pulling you left, right and centre, which is really good.
Yeah, perfectly put. Yeah, I definitely will echo that. And I think also it comes back to success looks different.
100%.
For everybody, success looks different. Some people, it might be in the numbers. Some people, it might be, you don't get the numbers, but someone might see it and be like, oh, can I interview about this? Yeah. Because this was interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
It looks so different. So I think the only thing I'll add with that is that, God, show me what the vision is for this platform. Where do you want to take this? Yeah. What do you want the impact to be? And then let him order your steps. And I can definitely relate in terms of you do something and you you feel like, okay, if I'm doing something that God has told me to do, it should be successful, you know? And I think for me, a reminder has been, just because I'm being obedient don't mean that God also thinks I'm ready.
Oof.
So it don't mean that God thinks I'm ready to tackle what the success of it looks like. What if the success happens and then I'm like, oh God, I slept so late. Oh God, I gotta go to this party. Oh God, I need to go and speak to my press, my PR team.
Oh,
like, and all those things start to take you away from him.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes it's like we just have to just be doing the work.
Yeah.
You do the work, you're obedient to it, you keep going at it. And part of faith is, if something God has called you to do something, it's hard, but you just have to continue doing it till it goes in the direction that he wants it to go. And if God feels like, you know, I'm not ready to tackle what's ahead, if he thinks it's gonna ultimately take me away from him, he's just not gonna give it to me. And I think that for me, that's what, like,
Facts.
It's like something I have to just deep. So it doesn't mean that season I have to do more work on making sure that I'm so rooted and God is so part and parcel of my day to day that nothing, great, small, good, bad, shakes me. I don't care. And I think that I wouldn't say that I'm there, but I feel like I'm definitely recognizing that when certain things don't look a certain way, it's like, okay, cool. This is not what marks as success, so it's fine. I'm doing my part that God wants me to do now, so I'm going to focus on that. And just,
that was good.
That's really good.
It's quite a nice mature conversation about purpose.
Look at us grown-ups for 2025, baby.
Because we've been chatting about this for time, like, since we were like 1920. Purpose. My purpose.
And just as a side note, because you mentioned the book and that purpose-driven life book.
Yes.
The biggest takeaway from that book was that God doesn't care about your career; He cares about your character. That was the thing that I've held onto from that book, and I pray that brings clarity to you too.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's a good book to read. It's lengthy.
Yeah,
but
I feel like it's good because
it's 40 days.
Yeah, it was lengthy.
Yeah.
I remember nothing.
Yeah. Well, that's because I didn't try, but now I do.
Yeah. But it's good to go back and watch it now. And read it now. You're probably more prepared
I'm gonna go read it. Yeah, we'll definitely recommend. But yeah, guys, just don't go ahead of God. Let Him literally order your steps all the way through. And also, I think definitely something that I will add as a prayer point is, as you are doing what God has called you to do, just ask Him for capacity and grace. Wisdom. What do I have to say no to? And let go of. And what do I have to prioritize and give more energy to? And let Him guide us accordingly.
Purr. I might sound so old now with saying purr. Are we saying purr now? No? All right. Well,
thank you for joining us yet again for another sweet, fruitful discussion. A discussion with so much growth in it. Hopefully you felt challenged, informed, and anything good, really. Don't forget to follow us on all social platforms. Don't forget we have the House of the Law code still going. It is £45 off any wig unit. The code is just down below. Preach it, sis. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share. Make sure you share it, please.
Share it.
See you later.